latest drugs to keep us all dumbed down and hope that they will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package lie to keep us trapped in greed. Another green bells wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Matt is joining me. Matt, my East Palestine partner in crime. So you went back without me. We've been there
I
4
did.
times together, and then
Yeah.
today I couldn't make it out, but you went in my stead and did an awesome job doing some covering the protests and the rallies. So if you guys want to check it out, there's 2 streams from earlier today that, just residents having a rally and a protest. So you can check those out. Matt, what was it like?
It was good. Some good energy there. Um, people are, people want, most of the people there want out. They just want to get away from the toxic chemicals.
Right.
Others are talking about healthcare and stuff, which is needed too. But I think the general sentiment was, why aren't we out of here yet? And what are we still
Yep.
doing here? Which makes it even more frustrating when we hear what JD Vance has to say.
Woo! So, yeah, I mean, for those who watch the show, when, of course, we were pissed that Trump won again, even though we didn't want Kamala either, but that's besides the point. We were not happy when Trump won, but when he picked JD Vance, Matt and I both said to each other, well, you know what? He's done more for East Palestine than anyone else. So we were like, at least there's
Yeah,
that. Fingers
yeah,
crossed. At least hopefully we can have some hope as far as that goes. JD Vance has done a number of things for East Palestine. He is from Ohio. For those who don't know, he was a senator
hmm
before he was VP in Ohio.
yep,
He has talked about EP on the floor of the Senate. He has been to visit them. He has gone to the creeks. Um, so he has been the most active representative. Now that he's in a real position of power as VP, he went back today on the 2-year anniversary. So Matt, let's see how that went.
yeah. Let's play that.
States Senator. One of the first real crises that we confronted when I was United States Senator for the great state of Ohio was the train derailment in East Palestine. And there are a few reasons why I wanted to come back, of course, on the second anniversary of the disaster. I think the first is just a signal to the people here in East Palestine that we will not forget you. I talked to the president about this visit a couple of days ago. The president loves this community. Of course, he visited himself personally. And President Trump just wanted to deliver a message that this community will not be forgotten, will not be left behind, and we are in it for the long haul in East Palestine. What does that mean? Well, one thing it means is that, of course, the environmental cleanup has to get done. It's a tragedy and a shame that it wasn't done during the last administration, but I guarantee we're going to finish the cleanup during this administration under the great leadership of Lee Zeldin, our new EP administrator who stands behind me.
Lee Zeldin, do you know who that is?
Yes, that is the Mark Durno got desk duty. I don't know if I told you that.
No.
Yeah, he got desk duty. He's pissing too many of us off. Too many of us are recording him. So yeah, he took over. She's the new Mark.
Oh, it's a female. Okay. I don't know anything about this. But Mark's gone, so I guess that's good. Unless we get a worse Mark.
Is that all there was?
That's all there was for that clip.
Oh,
It was
okay.
49 seconds. I wonder if there's another clip that talks about the emergency status.
Yeah, I thought that was a full one. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Is it one of the other ones you shared with me?
What's that?
Could it be one of the other links you shared with me?
It might be that one. Well, that one's interspersed with other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure News Nation has the full one. Because Rich McHugh was there, of course. Rich McHugh, if you guys don't know, was the one who made my my whistleblower tape public. He put it on News Nation. I have an hour and a half recording of when I met with Mark Durno of the EPA, and he said some things he probably shouldn't have said. No, he definitely shouldn't have said. That's on my YouTube if you want to check that out. Yeah, if you want to play this, you can.
Okay, yeah. In the meantime, I'm going to look up the full press conference.
The fire may be out and the wreckage may be cleared up in East Palestine, but residents say the human impact remains.
We're dealing with other health issues like shortness of breath, things like that we're not sure where they're coming from. Can't seem to get any answers, though.
During his first trip to East Palestine as vice president, J.D. Vance said it's time to rebuild the community.
We know that a lot of local businesses and a lot of local people lost a lot.
It's been 2 years since a Norfolk Southern train carrying hazardous material derailed, causing havoc in this small Ohio community. Both Ohio Senators Bernie Moreno and John Husted joined the vice president, all with one message.
This community will not be forgotten, will not be left behind, and we are in it for the long haul in East Palestine.
Vinyl chloride is still being detected in the area. Vice President Vance says getting that cleaned up is a must.
That's not going to happen overnight, of course. I'm a realist about this.
EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin is now tasked with getting East Palestine back to normal.
I will make sure that for the EPA, it is our highest priority, day in, day out, doing everything in our power to make sure that this is completed.
Vice President Vance says the administration is working to get a rail safety bill passed in Congress. Reporting in Washington, Rashad Hudson.
I mean, that's awesome. A safety bill, cool. What the fuck does that have to do with people who are living in their cars because they can't go home?
We don't talk about that, Joy. We put our fingers in our ears and we pretend it's not happening. Because if that kind of shit was happening, if it were happening, it would make this an emergency.
True. Yeah, and I mean, if people were like having tremors or bleeding out their ears or something, I mean, that may be an emergency too.
Right.
Like Lori, who you saw in the beginning. That was Lori O'Connell. Lori, you may know from my shows. Lori, there she is. Lori's husband, since the derailment, has had a double mastectomy.
Yep.
He has had breast cancer in both of his breasts. It does not run in his family. As you know, male breast cancer is also quite rare.
Yes.
There is no breast cancer in his family at all. And he has had a double mastectomy. He is also very sick in other ways. And he is not the only person.
Yeah.
So, I'm doom scrolling on Twitter, and it's like, oh my God, thank you so much, Vance, for going. Do you want to ask people of East Palestine how they feel about him going? because I kind of feel like I'm not giving anyone props until I talk to the people who actually are suffering and see if they thought it was adequate, if they thought that this was a good thing, and not so much. Did you find the full video?
I believe I did. It's 23 minutes.
Oh,
long.
we don't want that. But yeah, you can do the beginning.
I can like skip around in it.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon. It's good to be with everybody. It's great to be back in East Palestine. As a lot of you know, one of the first real crises that we confronted when I was United States Senator for the great state of Ohio was the train derailment in East Palestine. And there are a few reasons why I wanted to come back, of course, on the second anniversary of the disaster. I think the first is just a signal to the people here in East Palestine that we will not forget you. I talked to the president about this visit a couple of days ago. The president loves this community. Of course, he visited himself personally. And President Trump just wanted to deliver a message that this community will not be forgotten, will not be left behind, and we are in it for the long haul in East Palestine. What does that mean? Well, one thing it means is that, of course, the environmental cleanup has to get done. It's a tragedy and a shame that it wasn't done during the last administration, but I guarantee we're going to finish the cleanup during this administration under the great leadership of Lee Zeldin, our new EP administrator who stands behind me. And I also think that part of that means the long-term economic development of this community. We know that a lot of local businesses and a lot of local people lost a lot when that train disaster happened a couple of years ago. We are committed not just to finishing the environmental side of the cleanup, but hopefully seeing East Palestine build back better and stronger and more prosperous before this disaster happened in the first place. That's not going to happen overnight. Of course, I'm a realist about this, but I just want the people to know here that President Trump, me, and the entire administration are committed to ensuring that the people of East Palestine, that their community, their government does right by them, and we'll keep on working at it in the months and the years to come. So before I take a few questions from the press, I want to invite first our new EPA administrator and then Governor DeWine to come up and say a couple words. Lee?
Love DeWine.
I was just sworn in middle of last week, and as soon as I was sworn in, I instantly heard from the vice president's office saying that your first order of business right away, your first trip, we're going to East Palestine. As someone who was watching this disaster strike 2 years ago,
I don't know if we want to listen to this.
No, I don't. He can eat a bag of fucking dicks.
He's a snake.
I want to say you can only go up from Durno, but I don't know. I don't like any of them. And
this
you know
guy has,
funny?
yeah. Go ahead.
East Palestine residents, like, I've told you this before, like, like everyone knows everyone in East Palestine. Like, I say someone's first name. I'm like, Jamie. Oh, Christina. Oh, like, everyone knows everyone. And like every time they do stuff like this, people are like, I don't know who that is. Like people in this audience, like these people, whoever the fuck they are, like some of the people are like, they're like, I don't know who those people are because they're probably from outside East Palestine.
You're probably right. These guys who all have the same goofy facial hair, what is that? Are they? I don't know if you can see it. They all have the same goatee.
They never asked anyone, do you want to sign up to be at the press conference? They didn't even make an announcement. We only know because someone on the inside told us.
So these are fake residents, you think?
I guess so. I mean,
I think so too.
Like literally everyone knows everyone. Like no last names needed. And this happened last time too. I talked to 2 residents and they're like, I don't know like any of those people.
From the Biden visit. Yeah.
Yeah, from the Biden visit or this.
And here we have DeWine speaking. DeSwine. JD Vance is back. I want to get to the part where he talks about the emergency status. Probably at the end.
So before I take some questions, I just want to echo something the governor said and something the new administrator said, which is you've got great local officials here in East Palestine, Ohio, and in Columbiana County. I particularly want to thank Mayor Conway for your leadership, of course, during the terrible disaster, but of course, in the couple of years since. And I think that this community will build back stronger. And part of that is because of the leadership of Trent standing behind me. Of course, the great firefighters. I'm honored to have you guys joining us. I know that a lot of you took it upon yourselves to make sure this community thrived and survived in the wake of that disaster. We're thrilled to have you here, and we're honored by your presence.
It's on camera.
And of course, I can't leave out the great fire chief. Chief, where are you? There he is. The good thing about the fire chief is whether you're a United States Senator or the Vice President of the United States, he tells you exactly what he thinks you need to hear. And in the case of this community, I think you've got a great advocate here in the fire chief and the mayor. So we'll keep working at it. We recognize this is a long-term commitment, but we're in it for the long haul. Jack, you got a question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice President. You scraped that stick along the creek bed 2 years ago. Everything changed. Could you speak to your leadership role in that, President Trump's leadership role? And will that include going forward advocating for something like the Railway Safety Act package?
Yeah, so
I don't care about the Railway Safety Act.
No, Rich McHugh's question we want to hear.
Is that his? Okay.
Safer, but most importantly, make these communities faster. I heard a lot about Norfolk Southern making promises to this community that it didn't keep. And you can be damn sure that over the next 6 months, you're going to hear a lot from the Vice President of the United States and the entire administration. If Norfolk Southern doesn't keep these promises, we are going to talk about it and we are going to fight for it.
We're going to talk about it? Oh my God, Biden said that too. Ah!
Stern talking to.
I'm going to tell them to cut it out.
That Congress is still, that the Rail Safety Act is still hung up in Congress?
So,
I don't care about the Railway Safety Act.
Sure.
The president said yesterday that there could be some pain associated with the tariffs. We've seen some news over the last few hours with Mexico, some developments on that front. But I'm curious, how concerned do you think Americans should be about the impact tariffs will have on prices for them?
So Henry, let me bracket that question just because I want to focus on East Palestine, at least for the next couple of questions. Yeah.
You're talking about the cleanup that has to be done here, both economically and environmentally. What definitive actions can the people here depend on from your administration?
Well, I think the first and most definitive question is that Natalie, is that right? Okay, good. I have a good memory. The first and most important and concrete promise is that we're going to be transparent as the cleanup proceeds. Now, I remember talking to the Biden administration when I was a junior United States Senator, and I would say, well, when is the cleanup going to be done? And then give me a date. And then I'd call a couple of weeks after that date and I'd say, well, is the cleanup done? And they'd say, no, it's going to take another few months. And so I'd call a few months later. Is the cleanup done? We're going to be honest and open with the people of East Palestine about this cleanup as it proceeds apace. I'm not saying everything's going to go perfect because it never does, but we will always be honest and transparent with the people here. I think the second thing that we need to do, and we certainly commit to doing, is when you talk to people here on the ground, they know that this disaster left a mark on this community. They know also that to rebuild, you're going to have a government that's in it for the long haul, that's doing the long-term well testing, the long-term water testing, the long-term air testing, the long-term health testing. And that's something that we're going to fight to make sure that we do over the next few years of this administration. Because again, to rebuild this community, and I think it's a beautiful place. It's got great workers. It's got incredible natural landscape. It's got great people, but people have to be confident that they can invest in a business here, that they can build a business here, that they can raise a family here. That's going to take the long-term commitment, I think, of the Environmental Protection Agency, but of the whole administration. And that's certainly something that people here.
They shouldn't be raising any families there. They should get the families out.
Like, they can't even go in their houses. They're living in hotels and cars. What the fuck are you talking about?
Declare a disaster here so people can get
here we go.
Should expect, and they'll have.
Sure. In speaking with residents here over the past 2 years, one of the things that they tell us at New Nation is that they want a federal disaster declaration so that federal funds can come in so that they can get Medicare and they can get long-term health monitoring. I know the previous governor, has asked this. When I spoke with you last year, you asked President Biden to sign this. Will the Trump administration declare a disaster here so people can get these resources?
Yeah, so the long-term health monitoring, by the way, is something that we're very focused on, and I'm personally very focused on. It's something my Senate office worked a great deal on, and frankly was very disappointed that the Biden administration wasn't willing to meet us halfway there. We're going to do a lot there, and I think there's a lot that could be done. On the disaster declaration, it's an interesting question because a disaster declaration may have been very helpful 18 months ago. I don't know that it's still helpful today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the governor behind me. I'm going to talk to Lee about this, and I'm going to say, is a disaster declaration still helpful? Because if the answer is yes, then I'm going to take that message back to Washington.
Talk to Lee about it. He's not going to talk to the people in the streets.
But the answer may well be no, right? Because we're not in the same phase of this thing now that we were 2 years ago. Thank God for that.
So it's all better now.
It's
Things are
worse.
getting better. Yeah, that's what
Fucking idiot.
He's got it completely backwards. Chronic illness gets worse the more you're exposed to this shit. It's going to get worse.
We're going to do right by the community. That answer may not be the same as it was 18 months ago, but we're still going to work at it. Yeah.
What a douchebag.
The thing that sucks so bad is like a lot of the community voted for Vance because of his help for them in the past. And a lot of them had hope today. And
they did.
A disaster declaration, at the very least, would give them bottled water, which they're still cooking and drinking because they get chemical burns if they don't. It would give them health care, not monitoring. Fuck your stupid monitoring. It would give them health care, and it would provide them with relocation, even if it's a month. Go to a hotel for a month. Go to an apartment for a month. Whatever. Yes, it's fucking necessary. Like, you don't need to ask people if it's necessary. Ask the fucking residents if it's necessary. We're going to talk to the residents. How many did you talk to? None. God. Except those fake people behind him. I don't know who the fuck any of them are.
They're straight out of Central Casting.
Good God.
I don't know if I want to finish this video. We're about halfway through it.
Yeah. I wouldn't. That was Rich McHugh's question. Rich McHugh has been on the scene in EP like forever, and like I said, he's the one that exposed my my whistleblower recording of Durno, and that was Leslie Pacey, who's a friend to the show. She's with Government Accountability Project, who represents me. She asked that question. Rich said, if there's one thing you could ask, and she asked that question, and that was the right question to ask. And he said, monitoring. That's, if you guys listen to the recording I did with Durno, it's on my YouTube. Every single time I brought up Medicare for All or 1881A or anything, every fucking time he sat there and goes, we're doing a lot of health monitoring. And oh my God, what does that do? What does that do? It's telling you you're dying of cancer. Awesome.
Awesome. Good to know.
Great. Fan-freaking-tastic. Ugh. God, so gross. So fucking gross. I feel so bad for the community who had hope. And you know what? It's not a it's not a partisan issue. This is a class issue. Everything they're going through right now is something that affects all of us. Capitalism, corporatism, environmental terrorism, lack of healthcare. All of these things are classist issues.
Yes.
And that's why this is happening. This is not a rich neighborhood. This is a rural community And they're easy targets, because if this happened, well, it wouldn't happen. And some like super nice, like fucking, what's that one place like Cape Cod or something. If it did happen, a nicer place like that, within 24 hours, that place would have looked even more beautiful. It's just they treat these people like they are expendable, and they are so far from that. And a lot of them feel, well, it's been 2 years. Now nothing's going to happen. If it hasn't happened yet, that's it. And even though they don't like Biden, a lot of them didn't vote at all, which how can you blame them? But even though many of them don't like Biden, they still had hope when he came, because me and one other channel, that's all who covers East Palestine. Nobody really talks about it. Maybe today a few are, maybe. I don't know.
It's just
Tomorrow they won't be.
You and Status Quo.
That's it. So it's like, they just want people to hear them. So even when Biden came, they were like, oh God, please let him do something. The disaster declaration's been on his desk for over 1.5 years. He has to do something. Oh my God. And then he came and he did not one damn thing. He didn't meet with any residents either. He didn't do shit. He said, oh, if Norfolk Southern doesn't step up, I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to take care of it. Remember in 2016 when Hillary was talking about that? Yeah, and she's like, I'm going to tell them to cut it out. Oh, shit. Oh, my. Cut it out. Holy shit. Oh, my God.
Yes, Queen. Yes.
Yes, Queen. Oh, my God, Hizzlebub, I'm shaking. So very sad day, very disappointing. I wouldn't say I'm surprised at all, but I was hopeful for my friends. These people at the very least deserve relocation and health care at the very bare minimum.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get it under Trump, honestly.
It wasn't even like Trump that I was thinking about. I was hoping with Vance, because as an Ohioan,
Yeah.
Sounds very Hawaiian. As an Ohioan, he knows better. He's been to the community. He knows these people. He knew better. He was supposed to come and help. And
well, now he's working.
Trump loves this community. Trump was there once for like an hour. He did meet with the people. I will say that. He did meet with some residents. But he was also campaigning. We can't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks. I'll keep you guys updated as I, keep getting reached out to from residents. But I think at this point, they're exhausted. They're sad. They're feeling defeated. It's understandable.
They're sick. And one thing I hope happens is that JD Vance gets really sick from being there today. I have flu-like symptoms right now. I have a sore throat. I have a really bad headache. I was only there for 4 hours today. Not even 4 hours. But my body aches, man. And that's not... I didn't do that much walking,
Yep.
I
was worried about you because we get sick every freaking time we go there.
Yeah,
and I would be very surprised if he doesn't get sick.
Yeah, the McKim's winery, the inside
that
of
is
it.
The worst place.
It's all like unfinished wood paneling on the inside, and I'm pretty sure it
on the tracks.
Like a sponge, right? It like soaked it up. And the second you walk in that building, it just hits you right in the face.
It smells like sulfur.
And my body is
it's such a great
you need
little
to get out
place.
of here. Yeah. My spidey
It's
senses
really
were
just
going off.
a great little place that,
Got
used to
ruined.
have nice events and everything, and now it's just it's one of the most contaminated places besides Chrissy's house.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, please tune in to Katie Halper. I will be joining with Bill Proctor. So Bill Proctor is a former law enforcement turned journalist and private investigator. He has known Temujin Kensu for 30 years and been fighting for his case. Temujin Kensu is serving his 38th year in prison, and he is proven innocent. So we're fighting for his wrongful conviction to be overturned. I recently, about 2 weeks ago, flew out to Michigan to meet with Temujin in prison. And I have a book being released on his case and everything like that. It's the first ever book about him. So we're going to be talking about all those things tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. Katie Halper, please tune in. His story is so important, and we need all the help we can have to get him the hell out.
Hell yeah.
Free Temujin.
Free Temujin, man. What the
And
fuck?
solidarity with East Palestine always.
Yep, I love those people.
Yeah. Smash the like, smash subscribe, and much love to everyone.
Yes. Have a good night.
Except that guy who called us libs.